Hey everyone, welcome back to Purpose and Plans. I am really excited to share with you this new Erin Condren academic planner that I just got recently and how I am going to be doing my weekly planning in this academic planner and using it alongside my Aura Estelle personal planner. Now, just to preface why I have this and what's actually going on here and what caused me to want to buy this academic planner. So sometimes I think that planning can just get very detailed, and I know that may seem like an oxymoron because the intent and sometimes the purpose behind planning is to actually get into all of the details as to what is going on. And I love getting into the weeds of my day and things like that. However, sometimes I feel like, or I'd say at least over the past couple of weeks, since we have been transitioning or have transitioned back into school, and we have a lot of things going on in different schools and multiple drop-offs and extracurriculars. So we are truly in the thick of school and doing all of the things. And sometimes there are times when I just felt like I needed a more high-level overview of my week versus always being down in the weeds of my week. And I felt like I needed that because what I didn't want to do is overcommit or overwork myself, overload myself, or plan without really having a true understanding or look at what my actual capacity is for that particular week. And so I had to come up with a solution as to how I could actually plan, and I wanted to stay in my personal planner because I do love using my personal planner, but there were some limitations as to what I needed. And I think maybe part of it is because of the inserts that I have in this personal planner. I am still using my Follow Facts inserts in this planner. So not wanting to change out the inserts that I'm using because I do enjoy using them. So I realized that maybe I needed to try adding a supplemental planner alongside my Aura Estelle to really help me have a more high-level overview. Now, one thing about me is that I am truly a visionary. I am big on vision, and it's really important that when you are planning or doing anything in any area of your life, it's important that you have a vision. And part of that vision is being able to have a more elevated bird's eye view of what is really going on before really getting into the planning. And so I would do my vision journaling and things like that at the beginning of the month. But I wanted something that was more in real time, that would be more week to week, because I can have a vision for the month, but then at the same time, there are things that are coming and going throughout the week that are not necessarily in my control. And so I needed to be able to see things at a high level view week to week, and not necessarily having a high level overview that shows all of the details and in the weeds of things, but high level overview of what I'm doing, what is going on, who's, where, what, when, why, all of that stuff. So then I can actually plan and know exactly what I need to do, can do, and maybe where I need to postpone or delegate, things like that. And it definitely comes in handy when there's some conflicting schedules and me and my husband have to kind of do some trade-offs or split things up. So it really helps to do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and get into what caused me to actually buy this Erin Condren academic planner. And I can tell you, this is I think my second Erin Condren planner. My first planner was a Erin Condren planner, I think. It was a really long time ago. But they were having a sale, so that's one. This was during the planner launch in August, and I love cherries, so that was another added benefit there. But also, and I do enjoy spiral bound notebooks and planners and stuff, although I'm in a rings, but I do enjoy the spiral bound, and it's really a great quality notebook. And so I figured I would just go ahead and give it a try. And after looking at a couple of videos as far as some of the Erin Condren planners that were coming out, I found that the academic planner seemed to have the most flexibility that could give me what I need to incorporate it into my planning system. So that's what caused me to actually buy the Erin Condren planner, and I really loved it. And truly, when I got it in the mail and had it in my hands and was able to look at it in person, in real life, it did not disappoint. So I'm really excited. I'm not going to do a flip through as to what the planner looks like because there's a ton of videos on there, and this is kind of way after the planner launch. So you can see how it looks as I'm doing this, but the intent is certainly not to do a flip through of what it looks like. And I have been using this planner actually for about a week. So I am doing this kind of early. I haven't spent an entire month in this planner. I needed to think about how I wanted to use it and really see what was going to work for me. But as you can see, it's really nice. I opted for the more minimal monthly dividers versus the colorful ones. So I enjoy having that. And even though it's not the same, color as the cover, it's okay because I did order multiple covers. So I will more than likely be changing this out as well. So it's not inked up a whole lot, but I will show you what I have. And I did a couple of layouts to see what would work best. And so the layout that I'm going to show you today is still in a test drive mode, but I think it's pretty much good. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. So what I have here is I put my kids' schedule. So I like having my kids' schedule here because I just want to know what classes they're in, times, and if there's anything we have going on, if it is an appointment, early dismissal, late arrival, whatever. I already know what teachers, what classes they're going to miss, and it also allows me to know what things I need to be mindful of if there's quizzes and things like that. So I have their schedules here. I'm not going to go into the highlighting part because it's just for my own personal knowing of what it is. I also have my monthly layout here. I did not add any type of decoration, as you can see, except for a little bit of washi tape, so it's not so vanilla. But I did not do any decorating in this planner because my intent right now is to just really get a feel for how I want to use it. And I didn't want to spend time decorating and doing things when I just want to really get acclimated to how I plan to incorporate this planner into my current planner system. So I have basically just all of the kids' appointments, even if it's my appointments. This is just basically like our master planner for everyone. I don't have my husband's stuff on here. He manages his own schedule, but if he has something going on that has an impact on me or the household, then I will put it on this planner for my awareness, but I don't track my husband's calendar. He can do that on his own. So I have this planner here, and it's the master layout, and it really helps me because just to kind of show you, and hopefully it makes sense, is that monthly planner in my R style personal rings, of course, because it's smaller, you're not going to have as much space, right? It's not going to be as much space. And while I am tracking things that like appointments and extracurriculars and things like that, I felt like the planner was going to get very congested with school, and I didn't want that. So I wanted to be able to have another planner where I have more space and I don't have to worry about scrunching everything into a small box. I don't have to worry about running out of space or things feeling very congested. So this planner here is actually now more of my master planner for everything, and also somewhat of a pre-planner. So this will allow me to see what we have going on, and my intent with this is to not only plan in real time, but also do some pre-planning so that when I am doing my actual monthly planning, I can put the things that are necessary to go into my personal rings. So this really allows me to see what I have going on and then apply the necessary filters that I need week to week or month to month to put it in my personal planner. All right, so then on the next page, this is the monthly dashboard. I guess you could call it a monthly dashboard. And I really like this layout. And one of the things that I'm doing for the monthly dashboard layout is putting my goals. And I've mentioned before on a previous video that I do long form goal writing, but I like to just have my goals written in multiple planners, and I will just kind of put the main gist of the goal. So I have my goals here because I think it's important that as you're juggling everyone else's schedule, your kids, or if you're a caregiver, or you're homeschooling, whatever it is that you may be doing, it's important that you keep your goals, your vision, your dreams in the front as well, and don't feel like you have to put everything to the side. So while I am busy, I'm a working mom. I have 3 kids, high school, middle school, elementary school. Everyone's involved in some type of extracurricular activity. And then also my husband, he's working, he's a pastor as well. We have church and ministry. We have a lot of things going on. So it's very easy for me to get lost or get caught up in the vortex of everyone else's life, but I have to make sure that I'm taking care of me, that I am filling my cup, that I am doing the things that are necessary for my thriving and for me to flourish and move forward in the things that God has given me to do as well. So these goals here are for me. I don't put anyone else's goals here. I just put them here for me. Now, so of course, important dates, that's pretty much self-explanatory. We have important dates and then just top to-dos. This to-do section that I have here, this to-do section is not so much the nitty-gritty to-dos that I have going on as far as like do laundry or stuff like that. It's not that kind of day-to-day nitty-gritty in the weeds type of to-dos. The to-dos I have are more things that are not necessarily time sensitive, but things that are just necessary to do that month, but it's not an in the weeds type of thing. So for example, and I hope I explained that right or if it made sense, but for example, like I have things such as review my car maintenance because I was thinking like I have some car maintenance that should be coming up very soon, so I need to do that. It's not something that's scheduled. It's not something that is urgent per se, but this month is something that I need to do. It doesn't matter what week I do it on, it just needs to get done. So that's how I'm using those top to-dos right now. It could change, but for now, that's what I have. This notes and reminders, I'm not sure how I'm gonna use this. I have some ideas that I'm thinking about, but for now it is blank because the main thing was getting the high level stuff figured out in this planner. The notes and reminders, I can just use that as I figure it out. Now on this particular part of the tracker, this is where I am going to be tracking my kids' assignments, tests, quizzes, projects, anything that's definitely time sensitive. So I'm tracking my daughter, especially my little one in elementary school, certain things like if she has her homework is due or she has chapel, if there's a test, if there are pictures, things that require order forms, or if there's a field trip, things like that. So this deadline tracker, even though it has assignment, subject, and status, I'm not necessarily following this structure here. And I may put some banners up here, but the thing is, it's not going to be strictly one type of thing. So I may change it to topic or category. I'm not sure. Subject, maybe that should be category, but it's not based on a class. This is the actual detail, and this is the category of that detail. So my daughter has homework due, it's spelling, and I'll just write, turned in or something like that. So I like this because this allows me to not have my monthly spread overloaded with all of these other things. And I even also have it here on this sidebar every week, spelling quiz, Bible quiz, or math quiz. And these are, I have aligned to the week, so that way I know what's going on. So even on this calendar, I don't necessarily want it to get jam-packed, but I need to be able to see everything that I have going on, and it'll all make sense as to why I'm doing it this way when I get into the weekly layout. All right, so we have the deadline tracker, or just things that I need to track, I guess you could say. And now I'm gonna show you the first, before I get into the layout I'm actually using, I'm gonna show you the first layout that I attempted, and I didn't finish it because I didn't like it. So I was thinking that I was going to use this as a category type planner where I have each box on the side is a category. I'm sure you all have seen this type of layout before. Some use it for social media or like a business planner. I think this would be a great planner for that as well. I decided to use it as categories here, and I figured that each category could have its own color. So I have personal, home, the kids, purpose and plans. Then I have a course that I am taking right now. So I have a category for the course, the meals, and then prep and errands. And I wasn't sure how I was going to use these check boxes, but I have figured that out, and I will show you in a different layout. So as I was going through this and writing these things down, I realized that I did not like using all of these colors on this layout. I like colorful pens, and I think for certain things, but for planning, as I started to write stuff out for this week, I did not like it. It was too much color, and so I decided to just stop planning. And this was the actual week that I wanted to plan in, but I just stopped because I didn't like it. And so I decided to just use some previous September pages because I just started using this planner the week of the 15th, and I decided that I'm going to change it up. So I used the previous week to see how I liked it. Now on this particular spread, I decided to try a time block method where I'm not tracking my time by the hour or by the minutes, but more so giving myself blocks of time in which I expect or intend or may possibly do something. So I really like the way this particular layout came out because I like vertical planning a lot. However, I wasn't sure if this was the best layout, and I determined that it wasn't. It's a nice layout, and I think it is a great layout for time blocking, but I didn't want to do time blocking. But just to give you an idea, if by chance, maybe this may give you some inspiration or give you an idea on how you can time block without feeling super confined or have the rigidity that I think hourly time blocking can kind of create. So I just decided to do the 2-hour time blocks based on when everything starts moving around in my home. So 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 2. And then I jump to 4 to 6, 6 to 8, and 8 to 10. And I skip a 2-hour block between 2 and 4 because generally that is when I have to unplug and start wrapping things up and start doing school pickup and all of that. So there's no need for me to put that block there because I'm in my car. So I like this idea of saying, okay, I know that between 6 and 8, I'm going to do certain things. Regardless of what time it gets done within that block, I know that there are certain things that need to happen between 6 and 8 and so on and so forth. And so I carry that on throughout the week. And this was somewhat of a mock planning week similar to this, but I, one, did not use all the colors because I realized I did not want to do that, and just went ahead and laid out this week to see, do I like it? And I did like it, but I felt like having these time blocks was kind of becoming a little bit in the weeds type of planning for me, and I was trying to avoid that. And the intent of this planner was to raise the view up a little bit, get more high level, and see my week at a glance without the details, but just more of what are the things that's coming up. So I went ahead and did another mock plan, same plan across these weeks. This is the plan, the weekly spread that I'm actually using currently. So this is the real test drive right here, and so far, so good. So what I have done is I went back to doing the categories. So I have my personal, home, kids, purpose and plans, SIE, study, prep, and meals. And what I am doing is basically putting myself first and the things that I need to do for me personally at the top. This is not the everything that I need to do, but here are the main things, like focus areas for that week. So I'll just use Monday, for example, is that I have a prayer call at 12. So I will add any type of time sensitive things, events, appointments that have times. I will add those here. And then if there's anything else that is more important, things that are either urgent or important, those will get added here. So that's how I'm using the personal section. And then I have my home. So these are not, again, so detailed, but just a quick snapshot of what needs to happen today. So for example, with my home, I just said I need to tidy the office and do laundry. Okay, so I know that when I'm planning that these type of things will probably carry over into my personal planner. And then my kids, I have their appointments and where they need to be, what's going on. I find that to be really helpful because, you know, I'm at that stage in motherhood where I'm chauffeuring a lot, and they have a busier life than I do. So I definitely need to make sure that I'm keeping up with who needs to be where and making sure that no one gets forgotten as far as getting picked up. But that has not happened yet. I don't know, maybe some of you have done that. I don't know, where you may have coordinated with your husband and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I was supposed to pick so-and-so up. Oh, shucks, you have to go run and pick them up. So far so good. We have not had that happen. And then purpose and plan. So just basic things like plan the video, upload, stuff like that. And then my course that I'm in, an SIE course that I'm in, I've just been writing across study. Now, that's kind of obvious. If it's a course, I have to take an exam and have to study. But one of the things I'm going to do in this particular category is I will document what chapters I'm studying right now. And my intent is that I study every day. But I'm not putting the actual chapters that I'm studying because my chapter studies may not flow as intended. So if I study chapter 3 and 4, maybe I didn't finish all of it and I'm still studying chapter 3 and 4, and I can't really determine how long it's going to take me to study and really retain the material that I need to. So I just indicate that I'm going to study. I have a separate notebook that I'm using to track my course studies where I'll get more into the details of that. Now, I have here is 3 and 4, and then the rest is just study, and I will fill it in as needed. Honestly, I haven't had time to study yesterday or the day before. So that's just how that's been going. But if there's anything else that I need to indicate here for my studies, like review flashcards, I might put that here. So that's kind of how that category is going to go. And then I have a prep category. Now, this prep category, I realize how important this is. And I would say that if you do any type of category planning, a prep category is so helpful. I've mentioned on a previous video about preparation planning, but my preparation planning was kind of in my head, and I would think about it and write down certain things, but kind of in this way, I'm doing preparation planning, but it's ahead of time. I'm already thinking about what things I need to prep and plan prior to the things that need to get done. For example, with my daughter who's in gymnastics. So it takes up a lot of our evening time. It pulls us out of the home. So we need to be prepared for gymnastics. So that may mean on a previous week, on a Sunday or whatever day prior to going to gymnastics, I may have in the prep category, make sure the uniform is clean, make sure her gymnastics bag is packed, and she has her wrist braces and all of those things. So making sure that we have the things we need, because we don't have a lot of time when we get home to move around and prepare. We are pretty much like get home, drop the school bag, change clothes, and we're out the door. So we really have to be prepared on the days we have gymnastics. Let's say I need to schedule a haircut, but it may not be for that day. I'm reminding myself here in preparation for something else we have coming up later in the week. I need to schedule a haircut on Monday. so that I can have the haircut done on Thursday so we're ready for an event on Friday. So seeing this type of planning where one thing is dependent on another, that really helps me plan out what it is that I need to do and see high level what I have going on, because it doesn't help me to just put that I have an event on Friday, but we need to get haircuts, we need to get hair done, we need to make sure that this is done, and we need all of this, a lot of things sometimes that goes into that. And so it's not just knowing that we have an event that requires things, but we need to be able to start building those things into our plan. So that's why I have this prep category, because it keeps me focused on these things need to get done because of something that I have coming up this week, or it could be later in the week. But in order for me to relieve myself of some things later and do them now, if I have the bandwidth to do it now and less bandwidth later, that preparation planning comes in really handy. And I can say that it's a game changer for me. And this is really helpful because I have found that the preparation part has been an area where I think a lot of the gaps have been occurring in my planning, and having time to think about what needs to be prepared just really, really brings a lot of peace to how the week is going to go. So that's how I've been doing. I probably have labored over that particular category, but that is how much it has helped me. And then the next category is the meals category. This helps me quite a bit to know what's going on, and also because I need to track my kids' lunch. What are they going to eat for lunch? Or if I ordered their lunch at the school, knowing what days they're eating lunch at the school versus days that they need to bring their lunch. So that is really important as well. And if it's something that I'm cooking that requires preparation, like I need to take the chicken out to thaw, then I will put that in a prep category on a different day or the same day, depending, knowing that before I start cooking this meal, I know that this prep needs to happen. So this prep category really is supporting all of these other categories in my planner. The bottom checklist that I have here, what I'm doing for this is I am using this as just my errands. This is where I can write down the places that I need to go each day or throughout the week that will allow me to accomplish various things throughout the weeks. And even though I have these errands scheduled out on certain days, the thing is, when I'm doing my actual weekly planning, then I can say, all right, well, I know I have these places to go, and then I can just put it on a sticky note here and then say, okay, these are the days I'm going. But if it happens to be a different day, it's fine as long as it's getting done. But having this particular layout has been a game changer. I cannot tell you, I feel like this is it. So, and the other thing that I just decided to do, I think as of yesterday, was I decided that I wanted to start putting my weather stickers. I had a lot of weather stickers. I wasn't using them, but I realized that as part of my high-level overview, having the weather, looking at that ahead of time really helps, because we just know what we're working with. It affects the traffic, things like that. It takes longer sometimes to get to where you need to be. If it's raining, if you plan to get a car wash and you're like, oh, it's raining, so I'm not going to get my car washed this week, stuff like that. So this has been pretty helpful, and I do like it. I am really loving this. So this is how I'm using the academic planner as a category, high-level overview planner, and it works. It works so far, and I will do the same thing in this following week so you can see just what it looks like blank. And once I really get into the rhythm, I may do some decoration, washi, stickers. I'm not really sure. It's not my main planner, but it is a master planner. And I'm so happy that I brought this into my system because it has truly helped me quite a bit. And they do have a projects type of section back here, exams. I have not figured out how I want to use this yet. I'm not sure. And then there is some notes paper. So I do like that. I'm not so much worried about this section. I may not use it. I have to figure it out. I'm probably not going to track it for actual projects and exams. I doubted that that's going to be the purpose behind this section. I have to think about what I think may be best and what's going to work for me. The intent of this is to be high level, and that's what I'm going to stick to for now. And you'll start to see this planner on some of my other videos as I do other planner videos. But this is it. So just as a reminder, a little bit of encouragement is that I think it's important to, one, not keep yourself locked into anything. You know the season of life that you are in and what type of support you need. And if not, it's certainly important to take time to think about that and see what it is that you need. And know that for some people prefer one notebook to handle it all. Some like multiple. I am the kind of person, I like multiple notebooks. I have never felt out of sorts using multiple notebooks. It helps me and it allows my brain to focus on certain things versus everything being in one planner. But that is truly just a personal preference. I've always been more of a high level thinker, strategist type, visionary type person. I'm big on vision. My strengths are more in the strategy sphere. And that's where I feel like I can operate and function at my best. And so I needed a notebook also that supported me in a strategic way and not just a planner that kept me deep down in the weeds. And while this has been an absolute, I mean, I love my personal planner. It's not going anywhere, but I certainly needed something that was high level overview, what's happening, and then I can execute. And so here is where the execution is going to be primarily focused versus this being an execution plan. I'm getting into the weeds. This is more a hybrid of strategy execution. This is straight strategy. That's it. As far as my week in tasks goes, I have another notebook that focuses on vision, strategy, brainstorming type things, which doesn't include tasks, but more of alignment and purpose and vision and how I want to move in my month and the things that I have going on. Where do I feel God is pushing me, pulling me, leading me, all of that. That's a separate notebook. But this is more what's going on, high level, what needs to get done, and then bring what I need to bring over here and execute as needed. So that is how I'm using this notebook, and I absolutely love it, if I haven't said that before. And so thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel where I share with you content around planning, purpose, vision, and staying rooted in your faith. Until the next time, you all have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.